Honey. Ogima Gunu Gijik Indijnika Shawanaga Megaze Dodem. Greetings, my name is Adam Pawis. I'm from Shawanaga First Nation and currently the elected chief. My greeting was in the Ojibwe language, which indicated my spirit name, and my totem, which is the Eagle Clan, which I'm a part of, and certainly happy to be a resident of the area.
And what is your relationship to your community? Did you grow up there? Did you move there for a job? Well, how did you end up there?
As most of us in the First Nation, we've resided there since we were born. I've lived there my entire life, and just moving away, not even for any long duration of time, just for a summer job here and there. So I've lived there my entire life, and I'm proud to call it home.
And how long have you held your position as chief?
We were elected last May, so I've been the chief in Shawanaga for just over a year, almost a year and a half now, and certainly excited about the opportunities to grow the community and encourage our economy locally as well as regionally.
Why did you first decide to run as chief?
In our process as an Indigenous community, one of our protocols is that often our elders will bring us tobacco as an offering and make a request. And so one of my uncles did that, and so he came to see me and offered me tobacco, and the request that followed was to run for chief and, if successful, to guide our community in a good way.
How has your reservation changed over the years?
When I was a little guy, our community consisted of about 10 homes, our band office, and a fire hall. And now we currently have 98 units available either for people to live in or rental units, so a total of 98 homes, as well as a school, our band office, our fire hall, we have an old recreation center, we have a health center, we have an old commercial gas station, as well as a new offering along Highway 69, which we're fairly proud of.
So prior to COVID, what were your greatest challenges as chief?
Well, as I discussed about a year ago, we were elected, and so I was actually working at a neighboring First Nation as part of their technical team, and so I was involved in some of the processes to ensure the services and products were delivered, and my position was the Economic Development Officer. And at that particular time, my goal, and currently my goal, is to assist in the regrowth and rebuilding of the economic systems that existed, what we call pre-contact, or prior to the European invasion to our shores on the East Coast. And I don't mean to be offensive, but that's the way I feel. And our goal has been to revitalize those trade networks, to revitalize the economy. After all, our communities have been here and vibrant for over 10,000 years, and the current state of our communities is deplorable, and it is not acceptable. And so I can do what hundreds of others have done, which is patiently wait for the government to correct the system. I'm more inclined to challenge the system and to find processes and mechanisms that will allow us to rebuild those economies, rebuild our nations and communities in a good way. And so that's been a large part of my work over the last, I want to say, 10 years, and will continue to be.
When you first heard about COVID, what were your initial thoughts?
I guess my initial thoughts were ones of concern, but also of some skepticism in the early days. The thought that it would never reach our shores, as it was a global item, started and recognized in China, and the thought was we should be okay. Fast forward a few months, and it was real. It was present. The concern for the community was real. The concern for the well-being and livelihood of not only our citizens but of our friends and neighbors in the local environment. So. It was very concerning.
Where were you when you first heard about the lockdowns in Canada, and what were your thoughts and feelings?
My family and I enjoy the benefits of Canadian tourists, and we often travel. And as a matter of fact, we had arrived home in February of that year, about 4 days before they locked the city down, the airports down. And as we were disembarking from our flight from the Caribbean, there were a number of flights that were coming from Asia and overseas, and all those individuals were masked, and they were certainly well prepared and well versed in what happened. In the days that followed, the panic, the concern, and the danger was present and real in our community. And with great thanks to our public works team and some of our other teams in the community, we put a full lockdown in with the intent not to keep people in, but to keep the virus out, as we didn't know where that was going to go or how long it would be. Subsequently, we provided food to our citizens, we provided medical supplies at a safe distance, and like the rest of the world, we learned how to adapt to this present virus and what would be required moving forward, sanitation, personal protective equipment, and we accessed as many programs as we could to ensure that our people, whether they were at home in the community or were, I want to say in the local region, where we could provide them with the things that they needed as more and more services were shut down across the country. Part of my work in the foreseeable future.
So how did the pandemic change that process that you're trying to implement?
Well, I guess the biggest thing that we learned was that the reliance on government programs and outside systems wasn't enough. And we really had to focus on the well-being of our community, the well-being of our children and our elders, and to start to grow that economy. I felt, or I feel, that if we were going to climb out of this pandemic, that we would have to put some effort in doing that. And so hopefully that's what we've done. And knock on wood, at this point we haven't had any fatalities as far as COVID is concerned. And we're looking forward to building a better and brighter future for our children and our grandchildren.
Those are all my COVID questions. Other than, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Some of the discussions that I've had recently with other chiefs and other communities are that in this time of what we call reconciliation, there's a lot of work to do. And I think at this particular time, not only are we willing to do that work, but we're also receiving some indication that there are individuals and groups out there that are willing to work with us. And whether it's through the exposure of the children in Kamloops or other children that have been found at residential schools, our truth is becoming a reality. And our truth that we've been speaking for hundreds of years has finally come to light. And we're not looking for sympathy. What we're looking for is true reconciliation. And in some respects, it's the ability for us to guide our communities and to guide our citizens the way we ought to have been able to outside of a paternalistic view of the Crown governments. And so we're embarking on that work. We're doing that work. Our schools are growing, our health centers are growing, our economies are growing. Our citizens are the largest growing demographic in Canada, and we're persistent. We've been here for a very long time. We will continue to be here for a very long time. And as we shape this new frontier after COVID, I want to say we will be much more present than we have been over the last 100 years.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.